Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Patsy and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I built this super basic, very beginner entry table. So let's get into the build. First of all, you're going to want to cut down your 4x4s. These are used for the legs. It should be very simple. 2 cuts. So your first cut is going to be 1 cut halfway through, flip over your 4x4, and then 1 cut through the other half. Do not twist it like you saw me do there. At this point, I realized my lumber wasn't really gliding very well for me. So my dad actually suggested a plastic bag to help kind of push it along, and honestly that worked very well. So here you will see me trying to cut it down with the plastic bag and a speed square. One key to this project is to have your father painstakingly scrutinize all of your hard work and give it a little twisty twist. Just kidding, we were checking for level, but make sure you're on a level surface if you're ever, checking for level. We most certainly were not. After all my 4x4s were cut, I took the time to trim the sides of the 2x4s. This just makes sure that everything is nice and smooth and there are no rounded edges. This is completely optional, up to you what you want your table to look like. I then moved over to my miter saw to get my 4x4s level. This was just not something that I was able to do with my table saw. Honestly, you don't even need a table saw for this project. A miter saw and a circular saw would work very well. My 4x4s were cut. I moved on to the 2x4s. This is going to be the framing for your table, both the bottom frame and the top part of the frame. It was then time to fill the knots that were in this wood. There were quite a few. So I just took some wood putty and filled in the knots that I did not want to see. After that was dry, I just sanded it down and made it nice and smooth. It was then time to move on to the pocket hole screws, which honestly is my favorite part. You will see me holding this super cheap table together. That's because I didn't assemble it properly.
Now to do that 20 more times.
I moved on to staining and I promptly threw it on the ground. So yeah, don't do that. So here's the current situation. This one, perfectly straight, looks wonderful. This one curves inward. So I'm just going to take the side off and then just redo it until it's straight. I know that this is exactly how I want it to look. Just stepping back at a level. I think that looks really nice. Very excited to see how this turns out. After the beginning was made, I moved inside. It was very cold in the garage, so I just did the assembly in here. I also did not want to try to fit this through the doorway. I knew that once I put it together, I did not want to take it apart. So you will see here, just making sure everything is level for the top part of the frame. So after the top frame was completely done, I took this piece of scrap wood that I just had on hand. I don't have any sort of measurements for this, and I balanced the bottom part of the frame on this wood. I checked for level, and then I was able to just screw in the sides from there on the 2x4s. So what I'm doing here is just putting things together. I didn't want to do any sort of wood glue on this just in case I want to take it apart. I think that I want to take this from a very basic build to a more elevated build in the future, but I did this kind of in a rush. So next you'll see that I'm doing something that I actually wound up scrapping at the end. I went ahead and cut down the tops, both the top and then for the middle section, out of some 1/4 inch plywood. And I am tracing around the legs here. I was going to do a jigsaw kind of situation and make this little piece. It did not fit, it did not slide in the way that I wanted it to. So I just cut those edges off and I attached them at the end, which you will see. So after the bottom piece was cut out, I took some 1x2s and I just made these little supports, cut it down to size for the table, and used pocket hole screws to drill into the 2x4s. I took the top piece that I had previously cut and just placed it on the top here and kind of just situated it to where I wanted it to be. I wanted a little bit of overlap on each of the sides. If you're using a thicker material, maybe you want it to be inside of your frame, maybe you want it to sit flush. That is up to you. I took a brad nailer. This is just a standard brad nailer that I have, and I nailed all of the corners as well as nailed into the middle supports. This is going to prevent any sort of bowing over time. You'll want to repeat the same exact process on the bottom. Again, I added 2 little wings to the side and I did not record it, I apologize, but you can see it here in the final build that on either side it is nice and covered by that plywood. But yeah, here is the finished table. As a reminder, please always sand down your final product and use the proper polyurethane coat. I was so excited to have a Christmas village set up here that I just did all of that off camera after the holidays. So this has just recently gotten a polyurethane coat. All of the inspiration for this build came from the fact that I wanted to build a Christmas village for us for our house this year. So here is Christmas clips because I really don't know how I want to decorate this now that the holidays are over. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more basic builds and DIYs.